Amanda here from Create Your Future. Guys, I have an exciting video about manifestation do's and don'ts. I see a lot of content out there, and I'd like to clear up some questions that people have, what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing, what works, what doesn't. So we will dive into that. Just before we do, guys, we have a free course, how to identify your blocks to manifest anything fast. It's going to help you to build a mental diet, because your mental diet is everything in this game, okay? Everything. Like, you are just getting yourself out of your own way, right? And the thoughts that you focus on are so important throughout the day, okay? I mean, a thought can either make it or break it, okay? So that's going to help you, as well as I do have a course, how to, create the relationship that you love. And it's going to help you to create a mantra for your specific situation, and it's going to help you to manifest faster. I created a mantra when I was wanting to move in with Andrew. He said no, he didn't want to move in with me, and I created a mantra, and within 5 days he asked me to move in with him. Okay, so it can change your life that fast. Okay, so I got lots of success stories from that course. It's on sale right now. It's Create the Relationship You Love. Link is in the description, as well as I've got a lot of great affirmation tracks to go along with that. And guys, you know what? The other thing that we do here is I do a lot of YouTube lives, and if you want to, and I answer your questions for free. So if you want to be a part of those, definitely subscribe and turn on the notification bell icon so you'll be notified when I do a live, so you can pop on and ask a question. And also, subscribe, because I do a lot of in the community, the posts, I will post there for you guys to ask questions as well. So, and I'll answer those on a live. I just did that last week. So yeah, lots of opportunity for you guys to do that. So I know we have a lot of new subscribers. So for all the ones that are new, my name's Amanda. I'm a neurolinguistic programming practitioner, hypnotherapist, EFT practitioner, as well as a certified life coach. Okay. And yeah, I make videos to help make your life better and help you manifest things that you want, because every single one of you guys are amazing and you deserve it. Okay. 100%. So let's dive into these manifestations, do's and don'ts. The first thing that I'd like to say about this is there's really no wrong way to do this. You will manifest within your personal beliefs. Okay. So the only thing that really matters is what you're focusing on. Okay. You're always constantly manifesting every minute of the day. The question is, are you, living in the end, or living from the end of rejection? Or are you living from the end of being in a relationship? I mean, those are that's the question. Are you living from the end of being broke, or are you living from the end of being rich? Okay. So here's a few examples, right? Somebody without money is going to be living from the end of being broke. If every time they see a bill, they get anxiety. Every time they think about, a bill coming in, or how they're going to pay for something, or, thinking they have no money, that's living from the end of being broke. You've got to be the person inside your thoughts in the 4D of who you want to be to call it into you. Okay. So you've already got to start living it here before your reality is going to kick it in out there, because everything in your reality is just your previous thoughts reflecting back to you. And it's not there to shame you or do anything other than for you to it's a sounding board. It's like, okay, wow, that has not been showing up very good. I am going to change that. Take the emotions out of it. There's zero room for emotions in manifesting. Okay. Zero. Okay. So that brings me to the other thing, so here's the premise on what I live by. Okay. So I live from the premise that I'm perfect, whole, and complete. Okay. That's it. Okay. I know that there's books out there and whatever saying, oh, well, if you got health problems, it's a spiritual problem. I don't know. Maybe your chakra was blocked. I don't come from the premise of being damaged. Okay. Because, I'm made in the likeliness of God. We're all made in the likeliness of God. And if you're going to say that you're damaged and your knee hurts because of this spiritual problem, then there's nothing wrong with it. That's not wrong, but just be aware that you're going to have to fix that problem before that other problem gets fixed. In NLP, we call that double binding. Okay. So, I personally, okay, here's a story. I actually hurt my knee, and I actually just hurt my knee because I twisted it. Okay. And if someone would have said to me, oh, well, that's because you're blocked and it's a spiritual thing because you don't believe that people, respect you. Okay. Well, Okay, sure, you can give it that meaning, but that's just it. You're giving your injury that meaning, and then you're going to have to fix that meaning. You're going to have to fix that problem with yourself that you've just created in order to fix your knee. When really, I was just like, well, look, you know what? It's going to heal because I twisted it, and that's it. Boom, that's it, done. Okay, end of story. Okay, so. But just beware, if you're giving things in your reality a meaning, okay, you're attaching that meaning to it, so you're going to have to fix that meaning as well to fix that other thing, okay? So everything is empty and meaningless, okay? I think that's important. You're perfect, whole, and complete. Nothing's wrong with you, nothing to fix. You're not damaged in any way, and everything is empty and meaningless, and only give it the meaning that you want to give it, okay? So that's one of the do's that I say for, manifesting is come from that premise. Like, why would you want to come from I'm broken and I need to be fixed? Why? I mean, it's a lifelong journey to fix yourself. No, you can just say right now, you're perfect, whole, and complete. That's it. You have everything you possibly could need to be a perfect manifester because you are a perfect manifester. You've been manifesting your whole entire life. Okay. So, one of the don'ts, that we have is, is ruminating, like ruminating on negative thoughts because, you manifest with your thoughts. Okay. So one big don't is ruminating on negative thoughts. And, they say it's called ruminating in, psychology and counseling and all that. And, in NLP, we want you to do something like, we call it a pattern interrupt. You want to interrupt the pattern. So some ways when you're ruminating on those negative thoughts is get up and start moving physically. Start listening to a song, start doing something, do something to break yourself out of that mental habit, out of that mental state in the moment. Okay. You want to physically shift your body to shift your thoughts. Okay. And then, get on top of your thoughts. And start saying, no, everything's going to work out for me. I always find it easy to stay on my mental diet. Everything always works out for me. Okay. You want to, start putting the positive thoughts in there to start getting momentum. Affirmation tracks are a great way to do it. There's tons of free ones. Me and the coaches here, we have some that are actually reasonably priced, right? Even if you just wrote down a bunch of affirmations that you can read in a time when you're, ruminating and kind of spiraling out with these negative thoughts, just to stop yourself and to bring yourself back. Okay. Another thing that you don't want to do is questioning, questioning why it's not happening, questioning, why Jerry's not calling you, questioning why things haven't changed yet, questioning why your 3D is still there, right? Like peeking in on the 3D. If you are going to peek in and check the 3D, then use that as a time to go, okay, well, it hasn't shown up. I'm going to do my intentions again, rather than looking at the 3D and saying, oh, it hasn't happened. Why hasn't it happened? Why hasn't he called me? Why hasn't things changed yet? This isn't working. Is it working? Does my thought? No, we're not going there. We are not going there. Got to stop yourself. And, if you are going to check the 3D, use it as a constructive time to start building and focusing on what you want. Okay. And I think another big don't, right, is, listening to other people's beliefs. And here's a really good example of one. So some people out there have the belief of don't tell anyone your manifestation or else it's not going to come true. I don't believe that. That's not for me, right? So what I'm saying as a don't is don't take on everybody's beliefs, okay? Because their belief may be limiting to them, but it may not be limiting to you or vice versa, okay? Because a limiting belief really has to do with, you and how you look at it. So for instance, okay, like I bought this like laser thing, right? And, and I wanted to get it for like way cheaper, like $200 cheaper, but I didn't. And I got it for like full price. And then I actually showed somebody and I said, you know what, I really wanted to, I've been intending to get this cheaper. I'm like, but I didn't, but I got it. And I showed them. And then all of a sudden a week later, they knew I was looking to get like my money back and like to get it cheaper. They actually were looking for me and saw it in a flyer and remembered the conversation that they had with me, brought the flyer. I got it price matched within 30 days. So there was a perfect example of me telling somebody what I was looking to do, and they actually helped me. So that is my belief. My belief is if I share what I'm working towards, people are going to help me. Okay, now don't get me wrong. I do have a belief that if I tell someone negative that complains, they're probably just going to drag me down. So I'm not going to tell them. But, the people that I love and trust that support me, I have that story. So yeah, I do share with Andrew and all my loved ones what I am manifesting because I believe that there's power in that for me, okay? But if you have the belief, okay, that you share what you're manifesting and then people just rip you down and try to take it, then that's your belief. You don't need to change your story about people. Maybe you just don't share with people, or maybe you change your story about people. I mean, it's a great story to have, to say, look, at everybody in my reality supports what I want. Everybody in my reality is all working together to help me become successful because I'm trying to help them become successful, right? We help each other and it's a working thing, right? So, up to you. But my point is, I've heard people say, don't tell your manifestation to others because you know what, it's not going to happen. But I've told lots of manifestations to people and it happens all the time. The thing is about manifesting is it's not this weird thing. You're doing it every minute of the day. Every time you talk, it's an intention. Every thought you think is an intention, an affirmation. Okay. Everything that you do, you're constantly manifesting. You don't turn this off. So even when you are talking to your neighbor, that's an affirmation, right? So just because you said it to someone doesn't mean it's not going to happen, okay? Now, I do say, and I do believe that, going to someone trained like a coach is going to be a lot more helpful than maybe I've heard, manifestation buddies out there, and I've heard this time and time again, that it just becomes into a big complaint session, you know what I mean? And it's easy to get sucked into that if that's what you're used to. Like I have a few people in my reality that I would never actually sit down and start talking with because they're just complain, and I'm not going to deal with that, right? And that's okay. I've manifested in that way to show up, and that's the way they show up, and that's all there is to it, okay? So, take on, from every video what works for you and leave what doesn't, okay? Because everything's going to work within your beliefs. You're going to manifest within your beliefs, right? So some things to do when you're manifesting, okay, is to always think positive, always see the good in the situation. If you don't want someone to disrespect you, don't make their actions mean they're disrespecting you, okay? So like, for instance, if Jerry's late picking you up, don't make it mean that disrespects you. He doesn't care about your time. No, create it. Okay. It's okay. He was just late once. He didn't mean it. You know what? There was just unexpected traffic, done deal, right? He's going to be on time the next time. Okay. So, if you really want, you've got to see the good in everything. You've got to see the possibility. That's how you create a bridge. Even when something bad happens, you're like, no, this is still going to get me closer to my manifestation. Okay. Like always find the silver lining, always think positive. I mean, that's a tale as old as time. I mean, people have been saying this for years. Okay. And there's something to thinking positive, right? The other thing that you want to make sure that you do is have a clear goal. Have a clear goal. You can't pick and choose what thoughts you're going to keep if you don't have a clear goal. Now let's talk about beliefs for a minute. Not every belief is a limiting belief, and not every belief isn't a limiting belief. Okay. So here's an example. It's all relative to what your goal is. Okay. So let's say, for instance, my goal is to get in a relationship with Jerry. And I think, oh, you know what? He's got baggage. He doesn't want to be in a relationship with me. He's over it. Like, he's just not wanting to be with anybody. Okay. That belief is limiting because I'm not going to get what I want. Now, if I didn't want to be in a relationship with Jerry, that belief is not limiting because it's not stopping me from getting what I want. So whether a belief is limiting or not, it's all relative to what you're trying to manifest, okay? So that's why, somebody's belief may work for them and it may not work for you, or vice versa, okay? So, for instance, right, if you have the belief, that, if you want everybody in your reality to support you, but you got your belief that everybody's out to get you and no one's going to help you, well, then that thought's going to be limiting. But if you don't care about the whole world helping you, well, then that's fine. It's not limiting anymore. So it really depends on where you're trying to drive your bus as to whether or not your belief is limiting. That's why having a very clear, concise goal is so incredibly important in this, because when you know where you're going, you know what thoughts to keep and you know what track you want to be on. Okay. So get clear on what you want. That's so incredibly important. And if you don't know what you want, like your life purpose or anything, sit down. What makes you happy? What do you enjoy doing? I mean, I think the internet has proved these days that anybody can turn anything they enjoy into a business, right? So yeah, so guys, I think those are some do's and don'ts to look at. I think the biggest one here is, catch yourself from ruminating. I think, a good 60% of us, if we just do that and turn our thoughts into positive thoughts, we will definitely change our realities within a minute, right? And of course, one of the biggest do's to do is to wake up every day and say, today is going to be a miraculous day. Something incredible is going to happen because I'm good enough. And every day, you know what? Something great's going to happen, something miraculous. Everything's going to go my way. I am going to get what I want. Everything always works out for me. Anyways, guys, you are amazing. Thank you for being here. Comment any questions, video ideas that you have, and I will answer them in my video. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.